definitely an area that is overlooked on many occasions. I think it's something that we work towards and we strive towards, but then it gets busy and then things happen. And there's definitely been salons, clinics that I've walked into where I've looked and thought, oh, the wax pot's got drips down it, or I used to be really fastidious, that's a good word, fastidious about the cleanliness and the hygiene, and we used to have a list all the time and it got checked so every hour. You know, the toilets, do you walk in and there's toilet roll, and also laying on the bed, so they're cobwebs, and but just there's definitely, you can get that feeling when you walk into somewhere that they've been busy and everything looks a bit crazy.
Or it's the other way around as well, when you're laying on the bed that way from
massage.
Not sure when was the last time that was cleaned.
No. Well, you see the therapist's feet through the thing.
I know.
No, that's fine.
I mean, no, that's fine. But I think ultimately for me, I was so shocked, and I actually did a video straight away when the pandemic hit. And everyone was going crazy and we need to do that and hygiene, and I was thinking a lot of it should be done. Like, why haven't we got this in place? But I think, like you said, it's either it's very busy or it's a lack of knowledge around the hygiene procedures that have to be really, really tight, because it is linked to health and safety ultimately. And if you don't really know health and safety, or if you're really kind of unaware of the things that are going to make sure that the client is safe and the team is safe, it's not just the client, it's also your team, then you're going to carry on as you are, I guess. But I mean, I'm a huge health and safety fan. I sound more and more exciting. Between budget and health and safety, I do all the boring stuff no one wants to do. Yeah. But it's just striking to me, like you said, that we don't have those standards because maybe you got busy, or because perhaps we're into an old habit, and then we're forgetting. But health and safety, you don't need it until you need it. Yeah. That's the biggest thing, that health and safety. I started in a spa somewhere, and there was zero health and safety. The client fell down the stairs because the stairs were wet. No one put a sign in. There was no kind of sign for it. The team got fungus because of the towels not being cleaned properly. So hence why I had to be really, really into the whole, health and safety and hygiene. But it's a procedure that can't just be his procedure. No. It has to be really, really looked into
for each section of the business. But absolute hygiene is key, of course, but it's not just that, it's just pure cleanliness as well. The clinic, the salon, whatever it is, should smell fresh, look fresh. No dust on the skirting boards. Those are the things, or retail. Those are the things that clients pick up on, because you're sitting in one spot or laying in one spot. And you see these things. I've walked into so many places and been really disappointed by their lack of just almost care for... And also, when I used to have my business, I remember I used to walk in and there might be sort of a bit of scrumpled up tissue that someone might have dropped out of their pocket on the floor. And I think, surely I can't be the first person
to see that.
But and then you can physically see girls, teams, guys walking past it. And not clocking it. And so we used to sometimes do, a team kind of day together, or a team meeting where it'd be, right, I'm going to plant 10 things. And I want to see if you... That. Yeah, and it was quite a fun thing as well, that you'd get... It was sort of ridiculous small amounts of things, but you might get £1 for every one you find, and then the winning team gets this. It's quite a fun thing to do, but you might plant a Kirby grip just kind of popped on the side in the bathroom. But it's how... Because they often don't see things necessarily as you may see things either. And that may be because they're in their working day, they're very busy. But even when they're not sometimes, I still think that they don't see it how you see it yet, the small details. And that for me is a massive thing. So that's the hygiene, the health and safety, the cleanliness. And then the other one is not allowing your team to forget that level of professionalism and etiquette in the business. And again, I see that drop quite often when over-friendliness comes in, or a client is speaking in a certain way, and as a therapist, you're reflecting that. And of course, you adapt to each client.
Yeah.
But you need to remember who's around you, and that there's a certain line that you still don't cross, even if that client's sort of effing and blinding or whatever, because you get that, don't you? You do get that, but you don't need to then kind of accompany it with you.
It's hard though, isn't it? Because you've got a lot of those clients that are very familiar with you and vice versa. So where do you stop that line in a way? But I did judging recently, and one of the comments of the mystery shopper was, you know, I wish the therapist didn't have such strong opinions. And I'm like, I wonder what the conversation was that made her feel that that opinion was a little bit forced upon her. And I think that's sometimes forgotten in the art of conversation, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of how do you do small talks without overpowering your opinion upon the client, really.
Yeah, or giving your life story to the client, because
I
mean,
know,
as
much
I know, and as much as I absolutely love clients and so on, they will be nosy because they want to know about your life, who you are, what you do, where do you live, who's your boyfriend,
what's happened,
any dramas and things like that. And I think that actually, again, I always gave enough that the client was comfortable and happy, felt, you know, that I was interacting. But I certainly, you know, you certainly wouldn't say, I mean, some of the things I've heard is when you're listening, or you just catch something, you think, oh my goodness, did you really just say that? You know, like, we don't want to know what you did on Saturday night, sort of thing.
I know, I just have so many... Sometimes, you know, conversation about the therapist or the hairdresser's boyfriend, and, you know, you kind of sitting there like, it's great, but I didn't even ask you that many questions. So now I need to debate. But and don't get me wrong, I think it's just reading the client, really.
Reading the room,
and not forcing opinions, and not, like you said, having that etiquette. But you don't know how you are until someone tells you. So unless the owner is kind of highlighting it, then it's free for all, really, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, as the owner or the manager, you've got to set those standards and set the boundaries and remind your team, you know, how we operate and what level. You know, we were what I would class as a high-end clinic and salon. Yeah. So therefore, you know, that is what we want to put out to whoever's coming to visit us. It's very different types of businesses. I find a lot hairdressers, you know, I go to my hairdresser.
Knows my whole life story.
Oh yeah, mine too. And he loves a good old chat and he wants all the nitty-gritty, and I get it from him as well. And I love that. Yeah. That's what I love. If he was to work within the clinic that I had, and I heard that chat, I'd be mortified because it really wouldn't be the vibe of what we were doing. Yeah. So I mean, everybody's different, but it's understanding that, and I think the team needs to know as soon as they come in, they're interviewed or they've got the job, you need to set the standards, set the levels of where, you know, the barriers and the boundaries. And then
it's what you want really within the business ultimately, but it's also hearing. I think sometimes as an owner and as a manager, you don't even hear things anymore. You're so focused on your own thing. You don't even have that conversation thinking, actually that was a little bit, you know, you didn't have to talk about, you know, the war in Russia and whatever and go political or and sometimes those opinions you have to be so careful in terms of it puts you in a box in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, and also as well, I think it's very important when a client's talking about themselves, because that's ultimately what they want to do a lot of the time, is that you're not matching that with, oh yes, that happened to me, or oh, I did that too, because actually it's about them. Yeah,
for sure. And they need to have that offloading and somehow feeling that they've got in that environment where they can do that.
It's their space, it's their time.
But I do feel some of the teams sometimes are, you know, they're holding on to emotion of an older person, let's say, talking about divorce and everything else. It's quite heavy on some of the team members. I think sometimes that also needs to be a bit protected.
Yes, most definitely. So I think, you know, for me, as a roundup, it's definitely it's definitely important to keep in contact with your team about the levels, the standards and so on. But as an owner or a manager, be consistently, so once a month, whatever it is, once a week, be doing a full walk round and checking, listening, hearing, checking the hygiene, checking the cleanliness. This is new. Cleanliness. Doing a full audit as such, and I think that's really key as well. So it's all those different elements that every time that client walks in, then is going to get the same, the same feeling, the same look and feel of the salon or the clinic, and I mean, just to feel that you're in a place that cares, that everything looks the same, and that it's very hygienic and
it's got a standard.
Yeah.
So all you have to do now is press the subscribe button and join us every week for an insight chat.
And if you have any burning questions that we haven't yet answered, then just pop in the comments below or send us an email and we can include them in one of our weekly chats.
I've started this amazing community of like-minded salon owners to join us on a monthly basis with our Insight Chat subscription.
Yeah, on that chat as well, you'll also get access to lots of free downloads and content that can really support you in your business.
And thank you so much for listening.
And we'll see you next time.